Hey everybody, this is Fragger and Jeff here, and Jeff, we're here to take a look at the new Dragon Age DLC called Legacy.
Is this the one that has the achievement of the week, Deep Road Safari, in it?
Oh my god, it does!
That's exciting. I can't wait to find out how to get that achievement.
It's actually kind of silly because almost everything in this, all the achievements in this DLC are almost all like story based.
Oh,
or,
really?
Like you'll just get them.
Hey, let me ask you a question before we go any further.
Yes.
I'm no mathematician or mathematician even.
Either ones.
But it looks like I'm adding. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like there are 120 gamer score in this achievement. Is that in this DLC? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Interesting. Interesting that they would go for 120 and not 125 or 100.
Well, think about this.
Or 150.
The previous DLC, the one that shipped with the game with an extra character, was 130.
So that puts us at 250.
Yes. So the math does work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm no Goodwill Hunting, but I guess that makes sense to me.
It's better than whatever Mass Effect 2 ended up at, like at 1455 or something.
Yeah, that drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's like, But speaking of BioWare games, this piece of DLC is probably one of my favorite pieces of DLC they've ever produced.
In terms of Dragon Age or in terms of BioWare as a...
As in
cohesive...
Dragon Age 2, and Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 1.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I'm gonna quantify it.
Okay.
Now, I love Mass Effect 2. It's no like mystery to anybody that loved that game.
Yeah, anybody that knows you knows that you're a little weird for that game.
I'm a little weird. It's not like I've beaten that game over 10 times, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's the fact that unlike every other piece of DLC that they've produced pretty much, this actually feels a part of the game.
Okay.
Like, for instance, you'll have incidental dialogue by all of your squad mates. They'll actually constantly talk. And there'll be pieces where they'll actually like, interrupt and have their own little cutscenes, and you'll talk to them. Like, one of the characters, Anders, you'll even fight him at one point during this piece of DLC if you bring him with you.
Right.
So it feels like more of the story, and like one of the big pieces that Dragon Age 2 does for its storyline is this kind of the dwarf telling the story of what happened. Like, it's him retelling it. And the DLC begins with that, too. And it ends with that as well.
It's not like, for instance, Shepard, a planet that we always knew about that wasn't interesting, is suddenly interesting. Let's go check it out.
Or Shepard, you have to do this mission by yourself for some reason.
Right, with no explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, and unlike the actual Dragon Age 2, this feels more like they blended Dragon Age 1 with Dragon Age 2. You fight Darkspawn throughout almost the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And it also and it's also an entirely new environment, which is something a lot of people who played Dragon Age 2 complained about.
Dude, I love environments. They're the best.
Well, then you probably wouldn't like Dragon Age 2 that much. It had like 3.
Well, I'm a man of simple taste. 3 environments is all I need to be happy. So.
Well, this adds a 4th.
There you go. That might be too much for me.
That's enough dancing around it, but we'll dig into the nitty gritty here.
Okie dokie.
So this took me about maybe 4 or 5 hours to go all the way through, but it was awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of story.
Is that including getting all 120 gamer score?
Mm-hmm.
So 4 or 5 hours to complete the DLC and get all the achievements.
It also, the main plot of the story is you actually learn about the main character's father, and it's a really neat backstory, and also somewhat explains the whole backstory of the Darkspawn as well, which is really cool.
So daddy issues, I guess.
Somewhat daddy issues, and also explaining the big bads of the actual like series. So it's actually pretty cool in that respect.
Okay.
But let's dig into the achievements. And I actually did an arm pump there, too. So, yeah! The first one, the one that you mentioned, was Deep Road Safari, which is to get, kill all those dudes.
The Genlocks and the Genlock Alphas and all that stuff.
If I remember correctly, those are all Darkspawn except for the Bronto. So everything else is actually a class of Darkspawn.
Is the Bronto a dinosaur? Please?
No, it's more like a pack mule. But it's like a rhino pack mule.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
it is.
Wouldn't it be cool if they had a new DLC for Dragon Age 2 that was like Dragon Age 2 Dino Age, and then you were just like you were killing like Stegosaurus,
or they replace every character with a dinosaur?
Or that's even better, like dinosaurs with swords, right?
Yeah, now I'm imagining like a T-Rex with a sword in its mouth, like stabbing people.
Well, it would have to be in his mouth, right? Because his tiny little T-Rex arms. Yeah.
Exactly, but also the teeth just make it more awesome.
That's true.
And be fire in the background, but we're getting off topic.
we should petition BioWare to make this.
Exactly.
This has to happen.
Now, the one achievement that was actually somewhat difficult was to complete every side quest in the prison tower, which is about at the halfway point. You go into the tower. Pretty much ends up being a point of no return. Like, right before you enter the tower, the game kind of goes, by the way, you're about halfway done. Do you want to go back to the main game? You can come back at this point whenever you want to, which is kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this also is where they actually give you the chance to change up your squad, too. So that's kind of like the indicator that you're in the prison.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3 side quests are you have to defeat, like, 3 demons throughout the thing, which Dragon Age demons are always not fun to fight.
Yeah.
And that one, there's kind of red orbs in the walls. And you kind of bump into them every single time when you're walking along the path.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very, very easy to just get them all, but there's one on the first level and the next 2 are on the second level.
Okay.
On the second level is the next side quest, which I'll show you in the video exactly how to start it, and then you'll find them along the way, because you have to just bump into an altar, and you go, defile the altar, and then you complete that side quest.
Okay. To defile the altar.
Well, it's either get all the things that it requires or defile it.
Are you supposed to, like, get it drunk and take dirty pictures of it, or like
Things we can't talk about in this video.
All right.
But yeah, you have to do that, and the third one is collect these little scrolls, but they're all really easy to find, and there you get that achievement.
Nice.
And then all the other ones are story-based, which is Family Legacy, which is to apply the 3 effects, because you have to destroy these seals. Every time you destroy a seal, you get an effect you can add to Hawk's weapon. So you do that 3 times and through the story, and you get an achievement.
Okay.
And then defeat an ancient evil in the Vermark Mountains. I think is how you pronounce that. Goddamn BioWare making up words.
I think it's definitely how you pronounce that.
I'm going to say that it is. And that's just pretty much for beating the DLC, is by you getting that one. And now the one that might screw some people over, depending on when you play this in your game. It's to beat the entire DLC with either Bethany or Carver, which is your brother or your sister, depending on which gender you are.
Sure.
And depending on your choices in the game, they could be dead.
Uh-oh.
So try to not have them be dead.
Which in general is a good rule of thumb when you're talking about your siblings.
Well, yeah, I'll go with that, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the only one that could possibly screw people over, is that one.
Okie dokie.
So it's a pretty fun DLC. I really recommend it. This is, as I said, probably my favorite of the definitely my favorite of the Dragon Age DLCs, but possibly my favorite of the BioWares.
Wow, that's high praise.
It's good times. Play it.
Yeah, there you go.